It is fascinating to listen to people support the very systems that crush and exploit them. This is one of the most perplexing aspects of human behavior, the paradox of defending systems that work against one's own interests. Whether in politics, economics, or social structures, history is filled with examples of individuals and groups who, often unknowingly, become vocal proponents of systems that limit their freedom, diminish their opportunities, or exacerbate inequality. This phenomenon is not just an intellectual curiosity but a deeply ingrained psychological, historical, and societal pattern shaped by cognitive biases, misinformation, and the manipulation of narratives by those in power. Throughout history, the manipulation of the masses into supporting oppressive systems has been a tool of control. Take feudalism, for instance, where peasants supported monarchies and the nobility despite the grueling labor and heavy taxation imposed upon them. The church and ruling classes perpetuated the idea that this was the natural order, or divinely ordained, ensuring that those at the bottom would continue to defend a system designed to maintain their subjugation. In more recent history, the working class in early industrial capitalism often resisted labor reforms, despite brutal working conditions and exploitation. A significant example comes from the 19th century in Britain, where early trade unions were met with suspicion by many workers themselves, who feared that challenging their employers could lead to job loss or social disorder. These fears were exacerbated by elite narratives that framed labor movements as dangerous or unpatriotic, leading workers to support the very system that oppressed them. Psychology offers several insights into why people defend systems that exploit them. One explanation lies in cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort people feel when confronted with conflicting beliefs or information. To reduce this discomfort, people often rationalize their situation rather than confront the painful reality that they are being exploited. If admitting exploitation means admitting a sense of powerlessness, many will choose to avoid the psychological strain by justifying their support of the system. Another powerful psychological mechanism is system justification theory, which posits that people have an inherent desire to view the systems they live under as fair, just, and legitimate, even when those systems disadvantage them. A 2018 study published in Psychological Science found that low-income individuals in the US were more likely to justify economic inequality as fair and necessary compared to their wealthier counterparts. This phenomenon reflects how deeply ingrained beliefs about meritocracy and the American dream can obscure the reality of economic exploitation. In the modern world, misinformation and selective framing by political elites play a key role in shaping public opinion. For example, a 2021 study by the Economic Policy Institute found that many low- and middle-income Americans supported tax cuts for the wealthy, believing these policies would lead to economic growth and job creation, despite overwhelming evidence that such policies exacerbate income inequality. This support for regressive economic policies illustrates how misinformation can lead individuals to support systems that deepen their own economic disadvantage. Moreover, a Pew Research Center study in 2020 found that 45% of Americans believed that the U.S. economy was working well for them, even though wage stagnation, rising healthcare costs, and growing income inequality indicate otherwise. This disconnect between perception and reality reflects how narratives of economic success are sold to the public, encouraging them to support policies that reinforce the very inequalities from which they suffer. On a practical level, people support systems that exploit them because change is daunting, and maintaining the status quo feels safer. Many fear the unknown or believe that challenging the system could lead to greater instability or personal loss. Additionally, social and cultural conditioning can make people blind to the flaws in the systems they inhabit. It's easier to rationalize one's position than to acknowledge the difficulty of creating meaningful change. From historical precedents like feudalism and early capitalism to modern political and economic systems, individuals often defend the structures that keep them disadvantaged. Psychological phenomena such as cognitive dissonance and system justification, coupled with misinformation and social conditioning, help explain why people are inclined to support these systems. This insight highlights the need for greater awareness, education, and critical thinking to empower individuals to recognize and challenge the forces that exploit them.